Okay, we're back. I am Deadeye, and this is the wonderful Christopher Baird. How are you doing?
Fine. I'm doing fine, Glenn. Glennis?
Glenn.
Thank you. Glennis.
Okay.
Charmed to be here.
I'm sure you are. Anyways, we're gonna have to come up with like scripted intros or something because this is just getting ridiculous. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about a subject that's very close to my heart, and that is James Bond. I've been a Bond fan for a long time. My dad is a huge Bond fan. I don't know about you, Chris.
I'm getting into the books. I've always liked the Bond movies, but yeah, I guess I'm kind of blasé about them. I'll pop in every now and again to watch them. But I've been reading some of the novels. I've read Casino Royale, Live and Let Die, and I'm currently working my way through Moonraker. And I enjoy them. I like them.
they're really good books. They're kind of uneven, but they're like.
How would you say they're?
Well, I think what a good example is probably From Russia with Love, which is the best one so far that I've read. I've read up to Doctor No, and From Russia with Love is like a good half the novel Bond isn't even in it, which isn't bad because the first half of the novel is really good. It's going through all these different characters, like say the like the Russian people that are like like the Soviet spies and what that are conspiring against Bond and everything, and you also get Red Grant's background. For those of you who've only seen the movie For Russia with Love, the book's way more awesome because Red Grant, the assassin in it, kills at the full moon, like he's a proper serial killer. It's awesome. But a lot of those characters, you have like Kronstein, who's like a chess grandmaster, but he like sort of strategizes for like Smersh and everything. But he doesn't show up again in the second half of the novel. Rosa Klebb does, and of course so does Red Grant. But like a lot of those characters established in the first half don't really show up again later. You'll see what I mean when you read it. But it's still a great novel, and it's a great series of books. So I've been getting through those, and I
will say something about the books. It made me realise how utterly dumb the Live and Let Die movie is. How utterly pants on head stupid that was, and how no one actually gave a shit about movies back then.
Don't get me wrong.
I like it. I always liked that movie. I knew it was stupid. Obviously, I knew it was an outlandish thing. But I never really understood, like, I remember when I watched it, I never understood, like, Baron Samedi's character, like, voodoo henchman. I'm just like, how does he blow himself up? Because I always assumed that this was somewhat based in reality. It's silly, but...
There's no supernatural
stuff. There's supernatural. But then he's, like, getting, like, blown up and he falls to the ground and a new one comes out the top hat. I was like, what the hell is this?
And then he appears at the end.
Yeah, going,
at the back of the train, you're like, is Baron Samedi real? Is he real? Is he a ghost? Or is this just like a silly thing that they decided to end on? It's like, what the fuck?
I remember him being a playable character in one of the Bond games.
I think it was GoldenEye.
Was it?
I think it was good.
Yeah, Agent Under Fire, maybe?
It might have been on that. Agent Under Fire was crazy enough. God, the multiplayer was hilarious.
Especially you just like ramp up the speed. So
you just ramp up the speed.
Shot everywhere.
Bring down the gravity.
And you just become ninjas.
You become like super ninjas just flying through the air.
Right. Anyway.
But yeah, I saw a Daily Mail article a while back. It's up here as well, but I should tell you what, I'm going to zoom in a little bit.
The Daily Mail?
No,
is
not
it the Daily Mail, Glenn?
Not the Daily Mail. Oh no.
Oh my god,
can I get rid of
Daily Mail?
Can I get rid of this shit over here? But whatever, right. But I found a couple others, and we got to Indie 100 from The Independent here. And basically millennials are watching James Bond movies and noticing a huge problem. Well, imagine my shock.
Getting really popular to say that, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look, I must admit, I do sort of cringe sometimes when I hear like conservatives talking about like millennials, where it's millennials. It's a generalization.
Yeah.
It's going to be so I can imagine some people getting annoyed at it, especially millennials that aren't like this. But whatever. Let's we'll put that aside. for the moment, because right now we're talking about this. So we've got a bunch of. I like this one in particular though, because it was right. Okay, James Bond is one of the most iconic and enduring examples of suave manhood that exists in cinema. However, people are rewatching the films and noticing a few uncomfortable truths when it comes to consent. This is going to be another example of these ideologues not understanding, like, you know, humans. You know, like it's not a question of, oh my God, James Bond's a rapist. It's a question of you know, I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not a question of, like, you know, actually saying yes or no out loud, or you know, signing a fucking contract or anything. It's body language as part of it. You know, that's how it works. But whatever. But this may sound like sacrilege to some fans, but rewatching a rewatching of the 26 movies will confirm this. YouTuber blah blah blah, whose videos air towards comedic compiled inappropriate scenes from different James Bond movies. I'm not going to bother watching this. Like this scene in which James Bond smacks his female partner's derriere before telling her to leave because man talk. Now that is I remember that scene. It's from Goldfinger. That is hilarious.
It's so quaint.
I know,
it really is so quaint. It's just like, he did it lovingly.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, it's just like, oh, man talk, you know, it just spanks her on the arse, and you know, she just walks off. You know, it's nothing sinister. It's just like typical sort of, you know, old school chauvinism. That's it. You know, there's nothing horrible about it, and it's quite funny. I mean, watching it nowadays, you look at it, you're like, oh my God, you know. But and then you've got in this scene in Thunderball where Bond forces a kiss on a woman. I can't remember the context of this, so I'm not going to comment on it. We just watched a clip of this, right? This scene also in Thunderball where Bond walks in uninvited to a room where a woman is bathing. When she asks him to hand her something to put on, he gives her shoes.
Dun 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 dun. Comic, really.
I know, it's comedy. Like,
it's like, yeah, you want to put on your shoes.
Yeah,
get out naked. Yeah, you get the party, and you obviously wouldn't do. Oh, yes, I will do that because I am a woman.
It's. I mean, you watch the scene, and apart from anything else, she knows who he is.
Yeah.
Like, he comes in the room, and she's not shocked to see him there. I mean, she has a little bit of moment, and then it's like, oh, hello, Mr. Bond. You know, she doesn't give that much of a shit. You know, it's you know, they already know who each other is. You know, and he walks in, and then there's this little jokey moment where she's like, hand me some clothes, and he hands her shoes. It's a joke. Like, calm down.
She knew she wouldn't, you know.
Yeah, he knew. So and then she eventually gets out, but covers herself with a towel. Yeah. You know, and they're discussing something.
The scene goes on like it.
Yeah.
It would.
In this scene in Diamonds Are Forever, where he forcefully removes a woman's bikini top and then strangles her with it. Now.
No, I don't want to
see. Right. Now you see, in this scene, if I remember correctly, he's getting information out of her. He starts off coming off like he's about to seduce her and everything, and you know, she's being flirty with him and whatnot. But then he takes the bikini and wraps it around her neck, and then starts trying to get her to talk. Now, I must admit, from, you know, how, like, from a logic perspective, when you're trying to get someone to talk, the last thing you want to do is wrap something around their neck.
I think just like, now you will talk, shoves entire like 10 tennis balls down a guy's throat. You know, it's like,
what's in it? It was like that. What was it? That Tank Police anime that we watched, and they were trying to interrogate. Yeah, I know. That might be a there might be a day when we talk about that.
Yeah,
but like, there's that bit where they're trying to interrogate someone, and he's got a fucking grenade in his mouth.
Willingly insane Tank Police.
Yeah. But yeah, he's trying to get information out of her, and this is, you know, this is how Bond sort of does his work. You know, he does the same thing to guys in the movies. Like, I mean, this is the thing. Whenever he does something bad to a lady in the movies, people go, oh no! What about the amount of guys that Bond has done horrible things to? Like, in The License to Kill, which is one of the worst Bond films in my opinion, you let a guy just get mangled to a pulp. There's all sorts of shit he does to males in the Bond movies, and no one goes on about that. But the moment something horrible happens to a woman, or something mildly bad happens to a woman, you get articles like this about them. Like no one. It's like when people talk about GTA, how you can kill a hooker and whatnot. But it's like, what about all the men you gunned down? It's mostly men you kill in those games, So, but yeah, so we get the people are infuriated. Yes, people. Just everyone is infuriated. Independent. Yeah. So we got these tweets here. I think they're all in pretty much all the other articles. Just rewatched a number of James Bond films over Christmas and realised he's a fair bit rapey at times.
She sounds infuriated.
She sounds like just
Fuming.
Utterly livid. Personally, I don't think we need a black or female James Bond. We need James Bond to stop being a thing entirely. It's outdated, misogynistic, and well, just shite. Caitlin deserves a free helicopter ride. She needs a free helicopter ride stat. Because, it's one thing to not like James Bond, which is just, what are you doing being alive if you don't like James Bond? It's one thing doing that, but it's another thing entirely to say that it should stop being a thing because you don't like it. That's one of the types of people.
I'd say, to bring up a criticism of like the newest movies, I'd say it needs to find a way to keep itself being relevant. But it's. The new ones. I think are relevant in the proper way in that they're actually good movies, like that I actually want to go and see.
Yeah,
I'm bored about new ones.
The Daniel Craig ones aren't too bad. Casino Royale was probably the best one.
Yes.
Skyfall had the best climax as well, out in the manor with Albert Finney.
Yes.
I think his name is. Welcome to Scotland.
Yeah. It's a groundskeeper.
Yeah, that was a pretty great sequence in the film. The film itself overall was okay, but that particular climax was pretty excellent. And then you've got Quantum of Solace, which was horrible, and Spectre.
Gotta get all the water.
Yeah, I know.
All the water.
That was the villain's plan. He's just basically going to steal water
or make it down to Mexico and sell illegal water.
Oh God! It's been a long time.
Turn this water into gold. It's like, what are you doing with water?
Yeah, and you've got Spectre, where Christoph Waltz was a very good choice to be Blofeld, but they pretty much turned him into the Joker towards the end, and I don't know, the rest of the film was kind of unmemorable.
Yes.
It wasn't very
memorable.
memorable.
I thought it was very boring.
Casino Royale was the most memorable one, and the part of the reason for it is that, other than some of the the updated sequences and everything like that, it's Ian Fleming's Casino Royale.
Yeah.
It's based on the novel.
That and Daniel Craig actually looks like he's acting.
Yeah, there's part when Daniel Craig's being tortured and everything, and it's he's actually allowed to act. He's actually pretty good there. But then in the rest of the films, he doesn't really act all that much. He's just mostly kind of stern and I can see why people would want to go back to say the more kind of Sean Connery or even Roger Moore, sort of stuff where he's actually kind of. He's kind of wry. He's got he's got more of a sense of humour. He's more suave rather than Daniel Craig. He doesn't come off suave to me. He comes off kind of.
Honestly, he comes quite close to what he is in the books. To be honest,
I don't.
To a certain extent, at least.
To some extent, I don't know. I still kind of look at the one in the books as being kind of Sean Connery-esque. To me, but then of course with a book you can kind of project those things onto them. But
he comes across as like a proper professional, I guess. It's like a really clinical.
Yeah, it's. I like this guy's name. Go to hell at Jack.
Go to hell, Jack.
I, for one, am shocked that people have branded James Bond movies as sexist and racist based on all the sexism and racism in them. Oh right. People calling sexist things sexist and racist things racist. It's political correctness gone mad. I tell you.
How do you get up at all in the morning?
How do you? Yes, look. How do you live?
Get up in the morning and say that. This will be a funny thing to write.
How do you live thinking these things? How do you go out on the town and just not crumple into an absolute ball of utter agony at the fact that everything is just, not politically correct? Like, everything is just so insanely racist or sexist on some level. God. And again, it's like when we're talking about with, the Lord of the Rings books. Here we're far more familiar with Bond than we are with the Tolkien books. But again, you're looking back at old movies and old books and trying to project your own values onto them.
Yeah.
It's these people, and I must admit, I do hate that political correctness gone mad thing. Yeah. It's one of the. I mean, it's one of those things that's kind of, kind of undermined the movement against political correctness. I like to say political correctness is moral authoritarianism masquerading as manners. Because a lot of people will just say, "Oh, what's political correctness? It's just being good to each other." No, it's not. All right. In the early films, James Bond was a full-on rapist. Full-on rapist. Full-on. Name me a film where he raped someone. Name me one. You can't. However, not everyone agrees. Okay, morons. The whole point of James Bond is that he is a sexist, misogynist, womanizer. He's not misogynist.
Everyone's so off mark.
We'll get
you have
this.
To say misogynist.
Right, we'll get to this in a minute. All right. I mean, sexist, chauvinist, definitely.
Okay.
But like misogynist. Right. We'll get to that. This is the character. Also, it is a product of his time. Okay. Yes. People offended by this need to get a life. Correct. And this is the guy. I think this is the guy that made the videos. The video's a joke. I didn't think people would take it so seriously. They're taken out of context because it's part of the joke. I didn't mean for it to be used as part of some agenda. It's just a look back at old Bond moments that wouldn't go down so well today. They're inappropriate by today's standards. Well,
yeah.
Yeah. There you go. So the guy that made the video knows, But, and then we've got this as well.
Spoiler: James Bond is creepy.
Yeah. Daniel Craig is creepy. Look at him. Look at his face. He looks like a sad Greek mask here. He looks like a sad old dog. It's like, God, man, you're in a shower with a naked, beautiful woman. Like, Jesus, perk up a bit. Then again, I'm not sure if I want to see Daniel Craig perk up, but. But yeah, it's pretty much the same sort of stuff, and of course, screenshot from my favourite Bond film of all time, You Only Live Twice.
Yes, absolutely.
You Only Live Twice
Pleasure.
Is the best Bond film in my opinion. My dad's favourite one is On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and he told me that he went to see that when he was a kid with his dad, and he remembered going home and actually like crying on his way home because the ending was so sad. When Bond's wife was killed, it's actually I haven't read the novel, but like I skipped to the end of the novel a little bit, and they pretty much like do that word for word. Like we have all the time in the world and everything. It's like it is one of the saddest things, but and it's one of those another reason why people they're just so off the mark when they call them misogynist. But,
because misogynist, in my mind, is about hating women.
Well, that's what it is.
Not chauvinist doesn't come under that.
Chauvinist doesn't
he's
come
just
under
like,
that.
he's such a bit, he's such a twat.
Yeah,
that's
I say chauvinistic things to my girlfriend all the time, and she just brushes them off, or sometimes even just like says something back to me. It's banter. Just like, hey, get back in the kitchen, da 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 da, all that stuff. I'll say some chauvinistic things. I think my friend at work said that I was playfully chauvinist. So there you go. There you go. But we've got a few of these here. I think there's some more ones here. Watching old James Bond movies and realised dude was a low-key rapist. A low-key rapist, so not a rapist. A low-key rapist. How do you do that? How do you...
Like, do you just... Does a woman, like, go, like, 10 years before realising, like, wait a minute, he raped me?
You didn't... Like, it's like, how do you low-key rape someone?
I don't know.
I just don't get that. Like, you rape someone or you don't. You know? Right. But yeah, full-on rapist, blah, blah. So this guy thinks he's a low-key rapist, this guy thinks he was a full-on rapist.
Exclamation mark.
The thing is, I was kind of, I must admit, I was kind of hesitant as to whether I wanted to bring these up, because some of them I wonder whether they were real or not. Like, you know, James Bond was a full-on rapist. You know, like,
exclamation marks.
Watching Man with the Golden Gun, and good lord, the fact that they thought the hyper-racist sheriff character was a fun, wacky presence to bring back speaks volumes. Now, they're talking about Sheriff J.W. Pepper from Live and Let Die and Man with the Golden Gun. He wasn't in the novels.
Of course not.
Of course not, no. He was created for Live and Let Die, and he showed up again in Man with the Golden Gun. I said, I think, you know, we watched View to a Kill, and afterwards, like, I thought it would be a really funny idea if there was a movie where the villains turn out to be a loose conglomeration of all the police chiefs and sheriffs that Bond is mildly annoyed. Like, so the leader, of course, is going to be J.W. Pepper.
No, like, they all set themselves up at that city so they could finally block off an entire city so they can catch James Bond inside it. I don't know, like, maybe they fund an entire city-state and become rulers of it. And then, yeah, they have a scene where they're all, like, pounding their fists on, like, a round table in the dark, just, like, in a dark room, and they're like, that son of a bitch, James Bond, I hate that limey piece of shit. And then eventually goes like, nah, settle down, fellas. And you see like a tobacco chewing, and just this grotesque, chubby face.
Now, I didn't actually remember anything like racist that Pepper did, though. The thing is, I think we watched this. I don't know if... I don't, oh god. So it was here.
If there's yours, that is, spin around, boy. 10 fingers on the fender. Take the fire.
I'm so triggered right now.
Exactly your debut with this sort of thing.
Yeah, there. You see that? It's that part where he's like, you know, now I can tell this isn't exactly your debut at this sort of thing. Yeah, okay, maybe that's, you know, that's a suggestion that he's racist.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, though, who cares? He's a fictional character, and also he's presented as ridiculous. He is ridiculous as a character. That's why people remember him. You know, he's a cartoon character, really.
Such a cartoon.
He's a caricature. In fact, actually, he reminds me of that really horrible caricature of a racist person in that Captain America book. You know, the Truth, red, white, and black.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it looks exactly like him.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, it looks exactly like the guy, except the guy in the book was way more grotesque.
Yeah, like he got worse as he got older, apparently.
Yeah, I know. It's just like it was so grotesque. Like, you know, that. I mean, from what I see, that book, it's actually pretty dumb, but whatever.
Well, it's quite dumb. Man.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb, but
yeah, I liked it for a bit, but then I just like woke up and was like, what? What was I thinking?
But yeah, the point is that the guy's a fucking caricature. So, like, how does that speak volumes about anything? You know, it was funny. You know, the guy was funny. But anyways, if the millennials think Friends is sexist, they should watch James Bond: A View to a Kill. They will go nuts. I'm wondering whether this guy is actually, like, you know, thinking, you know, actually holds these opinions, or if he's just saying that they'll go nuts. You know. A View to a Kill. We watched that recently. I can't think of anything that was overly egregious in that one. No,
not really. No,
I can't think of anything. But Yeah, there's Pepper there
I love
with
this.
his face. And then, of course, there's the Daily Mail one that I originally saw in. Was there anything else? Turns out old school James Bond is a borderline rapist. Oh, fuck's sake. Was it Frank Underwood's Spacey, a rapist? Commissioner Gordon's The Dark Knight, a racist. What? Where was he? Where was?
Are we just going to strange fantasy lands?
Yeah, like where was he racist in The Dark Knight?
I hate them dark.
I know,
darkies.
Like,
then he shoots a black man.
Like what? Where was he racist in that film? In any of the films? I don't remember that. James Bond, Sean Connery's a sexist wife beater. No, you're talking about Sean Connery. You're not talking about James Bond. Everybody else, James Bond only had a wife once, and it was for a few hours, and then she got killed. So we never found out if he was a wife beater. You know, please, dear Lord, let everyone from Pixar be good people.
All these disparate things he's talking about.
I know, like what the fuck?
And you just jump to Pixar, like staff members of a company. Just like what?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Jumping from lily pad to lily pad. Oh.
Right, so what about Severin? Okay, well, this person, like, when Barbara Broccoli took over from her dad, I noted the women characters became strong and 100% unafraid to put James Bond in his place. There was plenty of women in the originals that were very kind of, that were very strong and assertive and whatnot. You know, it's just that they don't remember them. They don't think about them. You know, it's. There was plenty of women who helped James Bond with what he was doing. You know, hi there, love. What are you doing out of the kitchen? Yeah. So we've got, what about Severin in Skyfall or Lucia in Spectre? Neither is strong or puts Bond in his place, but both are disposable objects of pleasure. Why you're describing them like this?
Could they go about their own lives at their leisure afterwards? Like, I can't remember what their characters were.
I can't remember. Like, I think in Spectre there was that lassie. You know, there was the lassie
I remember, there was a woman.
There was the woman who I think she was fairly well known because she was actually like older than Daniel Craig. Like, she was in her 50s or something, but she was still like really sexy. But basically, like, Bond seduces her, and then I can't remember what happens to her. I think she ends up getting killed or something. You know, things like that do happen in the Bond films, you know. But like, to derive like misogyny out of it, you know, it's just like horrible things happen to everyone in these movies, you know. At least once a week, I think about the abominable treatment of the character Severin in Skyfall. No, Skyfall, yeah, like it's Severin.
Annually, every week, you think about it.
Yes, Severin was the
Why
one
do you
that.
think you're Skyfall that much?
Severin was the one that got shot in the head. You know, like, because they were doing the William Tell thing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But yeah, like, that was the villain doing that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, or I'm pretty sure. I think they're trying to get Bond to doing
it.
it.
A nasty thing.
Yeah. Like,
What?
It's like when they saw that there was that billboard for X-Men Apocalypse, and like you saw Apocalypse like strangling Mystique, I think, and people were like, "Oh my god, he's strangling a woman!" It's like, "Oh my god, the bad person is doing a bad
gigantic,
thing."
like, I never really understood Apocalypse. The Egyptian alien clown. Is that what he is? He's like, I am the first mutant, and just like has wacky lips. But then,
I'll say this though: there's way going away from the subject for just a second. There are way too many fucking articles nowadays about tweets.
Yeah.
So yeah, by no means does this represent everyone, of course, you know, but I think most sensible people realise that. But yeah, I thought we would look at this in particular. There's things in this article that I agree with, but there are things that I kind of take issue with. And why Idris Elba shouldn't play James Bond. Now, I personally, like, if it turns out that he will be playing Bond, I won't have a problem with it, because I quite like Idris Elba.
Cool, yeah.
He could be an interesting Bond, you know. I think James Bond has gone through so many iterations and, you know, so many different actors and whatnot, that the idea of, you know, having him be played by a black man is just...
Well,
It's I find it impossible to give a shit. It's one thing when, like, say you've got
yeah, I mean, it's good that you actually have a person like who has like a name and has proven himself to be quite charismatic.
Yeah.
It's what if they just give some guy.
Yeah, exactly. It's one thing, like, say in comics, like, say if they were to suddenly turn Superman black, it's for no reason other than my diversity.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it would be the same as if they suddenly turned Luke Cage white. He's not really Luke Cage anymore. Luke Cage is black. So. But in this case, again, he's gone through so many iterations that I understand. It's fine to me. There's no real problem with it. The only problem that I can see from it is the same problem that, say, like Ghostbusters and, to a much lesser extent, Ocean's 8 had. I never saw Ocean's 8, by the way. Ghostbusters, the all-female Ghostbusters was a piece of crap, but not because it was all female.
It's because this is what you're going to get.
Well, yeah, this is what you're going to get.
This is the slop you're going to get when he's like, women's going to be funny. He's like, yeah, it's like, I know. I mean, this girl I met down the bar or something, she was really funny. No! You got to have female actresses and comedians. Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, and
the ones we have chosen for you.
Yeah, exactly. It's the ones they have chosen. It's the ones that, it's the diversity creates the ones that they have chosen.
Yeah.
It's not actually talented, funny women.
Yeah.
So that's how you end up with Michelle Wolf, for example. The fucking kazoo-voiced, insufferable piece of shit that she is. But yeah, like with Ghostbusters, it wasn't strictly speaking because they were female. It was because it was terribly written. It was just a nightmare to look at, really.
Yeah.
And the women that they got just weren't very good. I'm sure they've been good in other things, but they just weren't in Ghostbusters. They just weren't very good. It wasn't funny. It just wasn't very funny. The villain sucked.
That whole whole man-child.
Yeah, the man-child thing. It's all that seems to be the fucking go-to villain for these people nowadays. Is the man-child.
Yeah, you got Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren and
Ren,
what was it? Domhnall Gleeson's character.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll talk about Star Wars at some point. But yeah, you're just going to get. This is what you're going to get when your primary concern is diversity. You're going to get crap products, and you're going to get mostly diversity, but no good products. If you just let things go the way they are and just like allow people to create things and not try to have quotas on things, you're going to get diversity and you're going to get good stuff. You're going to get quality stuff.
Good stuff is what you should be in.
Yeah, exactly. So this is my fear if Idris Elba is Bond, that he's going to make the film. There's going to be criticisms about it, because the last few Bond films, there were things to be critical about them, and it's going to be put down to racism. And it's like with Ocean's 8, when you saw that Ocean's 8 was made like, it was like all female Ocean's 8, and you think like, all right, it's going to get bad reviews, and people are going to call the critics sexist, and that's exactly what happened.
For the short amount of time that it was.
Titans. This is what's people don't like the design of Starfire. Starfire is meant to be orange, apart from anything else.
How dreadful everything in that show.
Yeah, I mean everything looks dreadful in that show, but you've got Starfire has been kind of at the epicenter of it because she kind of looks like a tranny hooker, and the thing is,
My Chemical Romance, Robin.
Yeah, fuck Batman. God.
I like what the diversity in comics guy, Richard C. Myers said. He said, can we just go back to like Kojak and Columbo? It's like, can we just be done with superhero TV shows?
Bring back Danger Man.
Danger Man.
Actually, no, don't bring back Danger Man because I don't want you to fuck it up.
Can't be the answer for everything then.
I suppose,
don't
yeah.
bring him back.
like do something like that.
Just turn off
just
TV.
stop doing. Yeah, just turn off the TV. Throw the TV out the window. You know, just burn it all down. You know, we've got the internet. We can handle it. We've got plenty of cancer to go around here. You know, but people were going about how she didn't have orange skin, and so of course people called the critics sexist. Oh no, not sexist, racist. I can't even get it straight anymore. Oh no, straight. Oh. Yeah, this is what's going to happen, you know, and it does ruin things like this because I think Idris Elba would be a pretty good Bond. But anyways, let's get into the article here. Bond is a racist, sexist dinosaur. He is the antithesis of diversity. I agree, he's the antithesis of diversity in some sense, but but like this. Have you read the books? Have you? I mean, the film. Like, he's not even racist in the films. I don't get it. I don't get where the racist things come. Maybe the sexist. Maybe the sexist thing. I get it. I get that. But the racist
I just don't
thing.
get like. It's gone to a point where you just can't just put like a word like that to describe everything. You can't just say like, oh, it's sexist. No, I was talking about women. But
So right, we've got this. I don't understand why they do this with articles.
What?
This?
And then you got like the Japanese sun. I'm just
Why?
like, what's going on?
What is
The land
this?
of the rising sun tea.
It's confusing. For a second, I thought they'd missed the T. I thought, well, get a proofreader, but then it's like, oh, it's here. What the fuck? The producers at Spiked, by the way, from what I can tell, Spiked is kind of centre left, I think. Though they're kind of they're very anti like SJW. Like Brendan O'Neill's on here. Brendan O'Neill's pretty good. He writes for the Spectator and everything. But yeah, so the producers of the James Bond movies are in a bind. Daniel Craig is making his last Bond film, and other franchises are doing the spy formula better. Which ones? For example, the Mission Impossible movies. Really? What you mean?
Are they spies?
You mean Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise in Tom Cruise?
Is it
Tom
spy
Cruise.
Are they spy movies anymore, or are they just like jumping through windows?
It's basically
climbing a window?
it's basically Tom Cruise just being, you know.
He gets to do his own stunts again.
Yeah, like the first movie was the closest. Yeah, if you actually watch the Mission Impossible TV show, like the first movie is the closest it ever gets to being like the TV series, and then after that, it's basically Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise in the Tom Cruise. That's it, and pretty much every movie is him being framed or being turned against. Like the IMF turning against him and everything. It's kind of shit.
I haven't seen any of the new ones, but
yeah, I've seen new ones. They're kind of crap. Have the freedom to employ all the stunt spectaculars and Byzantine plot twists needed in a thriller, but have none of the baggage that comes with an established character with a long and increasingly embarrassing history. Sort of true in that Ethan Hunt was never in the show. Ethan Hunt was created for the movies. So yeah. The question of who should play Bond next is a critical one for the Bond films. The right actor could revitalise the creaky franchise, and the wrong one could kill it completely. I don't know about that. That's a bit hyperbolic. So who should?
I could have it to anyone. Anything.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Solo bombed, but I don't think that's the end of Star Wars.
Yeah, and that's on them for not even just the movie. It's just like.
Yeah.
The way they treated fans and all that.
The way they treat fans, the way that the last movie was, and so
But yeah.
Again, we'll probably talk about Star Wars at some point. So who should play him after Craig retires from the role? Now, this is something other than Idris Elba. Can you think of anyone who could play Bond right now? I remember Tom Hiddleston was meant to be in the run.
Yeah, I don't really see him personally.
I could maybe see him doing it like
a period one. You said.
like because well that's towards the end of the article, but like maybe doing that, but
I can't see it personally. I could see him being in a Bond movie, but I can't see him. Maybe I don't.
Maybe well anyways.
Damien Lewis.
Oh, right.
He's in that Homeland series. I could see him.
Oh yeah, the ginger dude.
Yeah,
that's how I remember. I watched a bit of Homeland. I remember it being pretty decent. But,
I could see him. He's the closest, I think. Dominic West.
Was it the guy who's who's fucking Jesse in Preacher. I think is
Yeah.
that what you're talking about?
No, oh yeah, it's him. It's that.
Because wasn't it him that played Ian Fleming in that Fleming miniseries?
I don't know.
I can't remember. Well, yeah, that guy. I think he might be okay.
Okay.
But, I remember actually. Ian Fleming stated that he thought he saw Bond as being as a kind of like Hoagie Carmichael.
Yeah, that's right. He's like a jazz singer or something.
I think, yeah, like kind of like him. That's how Ian Fleming saw Bond. So not quite what we'd expect nowadays,
Yeah,
I guess. He's not really like Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
Nothing like that, no. So yeah, I don't know. Tom Hiddleston, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can surprise me. Sure.
Yeah. But that's a really. I can't really think of any others. You don't really have a Sean Connery now.
You don't have a lot of the these kind of classic, good-looking guys.
Yeah, the classically manly sort of.
Yeah.
You know, guys.
Times
you know.
change and all that.
Yeah. So. What was it? For the past 10 years, the actor Idris Elba, now a suave, handsome 45-year-old, has been the go-to guy when thinking about who should be the next Bond. In the collective cultural consciousness evidence on Twitter, Elba has become, because everything happens on Twitter, Elba has become the only man who could do justice to the Bond archetype. In many ways, you can see why people think that. Like Bond, Elba is cool, manly, elegant, self-assured. He gives the impression of being able to handle himself in dangerous situations with style and wit. I think I would agree with that. The Elba Bond discussion resurfaced last week when the Daily Star quoted director Antoine Fuqua in conversation with Bond producer Barbara Broccoli. Antoine Fuqua, I think, did the Equalizer.
Yes.
Movies. I really liked the first Equalizer. I don't know about the second one. I haven't seen it. But if he's going to be doing a Bond film, that might be interesting. He's quite good at action, so saying that is
It was time for...
that it was time for
was time... Yeah, what's that?
Defo
proofreading.
Was time for an ethnic minority actor to play Bond. Oh, God. While he later said the quotes were fabricated, it nevertheless echoed in a lot of people's thinking. But the obvious but uncomfortable truth is, of course, why? Why is the casting of Bond a matter of skin colour, and why is the time now? Well, yeah, I would agree. I think if Idris Elba should be cast as Bond, it should be because he's a good actor and could play the part right, not because he's black. You know, the original Bond, summoned to life in Ian Fleming's Potboiler Thrillers, is a badly dressed, yes, look it up, two-dimensional, snobbish, dull, chauvinist, racist, sexist, thuggish murderer. These qualities are no longer acceptable by contemporary standards. Worse, they are quite possibly some of the biggest imaginable transgressions against modern sensibilities. Bond stood for empire and the superiority of the English race. Oh, God. Particularly the heterosexual males of the species. Now, I don't... look, I'll admit, I've only read up to Dr. No. I think it's like 6 novels I've read. I have not seen anything like this. The guy's not two-dimensional.
No,
I don't remember him being snobbish in the slightest. He has high class tastes, but not snobbish. Dull. What the fuck? Chauvinist.
What do you mean by dull, though?
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean by dull exactly? But I don't think he is. I mean, do you mean intellectually dull? Because that's not the case. You know, he's pretty much an international detective. That's what he is. He's a secret agent. Chauvinist, maybe. Probably.
Sure. Yeah.
Racist, sexist, thuggish murderer. He's definitely a murderer, killer. You know, but again, like, you just totally missed the point. You know, and then of course we bring up the GoldenEye quote, I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur, relic of the Cold War, whose boyish charms, though wasted on me, obviously appealed to that young woman I sent out to evaluate you. Okay, misogynist, really. You know, in the books and in the movies, he spends most of his time fucking saving women. You know, if he was a misogynist and he hated women, then he wouldn't bother. Like, oh God. But yeah.
Well, to be honest, I think she says most of that just to kind of get under, under his skin.
Yeah, to try and get under the skin, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it's done.
So it's fine. I mean, those movies like GoldenEye and Tomorrow Never Dies, they were written by Bruce Furstein, who's a humorist, and so like, there's a lot of stuff in those movies that are very kind of it's like it's the dialogue, like there's lots of puns, there's lots of wry humor in those movies, so I can take it. It's just like the young woman in GoldenEye, we are so fascinated by Bond that we don't just forgive his what today would be called toxic masculinity. We are drawn to it. Now I agree, it would be called toxic masculinity. It's just this article. Like, I'm disagreeing with half of it and I'm agreeing with the other half of it. So one of our fundamental reasons Bond is that he is a dinosaur. He is of his time, and this hasn't really changed in all the Bond movies. He is essentially dated, anachronistic. The more contemporary he becomes, the less Bond-like he becomes. After all, he is a public school boy with the foibles of an aristocrat. The English aristocracy do not announce themselves, but recognise one another through their language, mannerisms and dress code. This is getting boring now. And it is this coded language of manners and behaviour that is made visual in Bond movies. Bond's style, swagger and conviction of self-importance reveal him to be a member of the British upper classes. I never thought of him like that. I mean, he's obviously not poor, but I never looked at him as being like a, this sort of class hero or anything like that.
No,
class isn't really brought up that much with Bond. It's Bond is. I mean, the nature of his stories and his job and everything don't really, they don't really sort of allow for such discussion. I don't think it's meant to be. For the Bond formula to work, this must be a defining element. It means that James Bond, like it or not, is a white man. I don't really know what to say to that. It's again, I think Bond has gone through so many iterations that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
what you call him has changed race a few times. What's his face? Felix Leiter.
Yeah,
He's been a black man.
yeah, like he's a black man in the new movies.
Yeah, he's been a black man in the past. There was that guy who played him.
Yeah.
He's been white, obviously. Yeah.
Like, so why so we do that to Felix Leiter, why not we can just do it to Bond? I mean, unless it's like a period thing, but again, we'll get into that later. It would be possible to make Bond black, but to do so would be to transform the Bond archetype and franchise in such a way that it will lose its essence. Really? This may not in fact be such a great loss. The franchise has been struggling for the past 20 years to find a reason for Bond to exist. Bond, the sensualist, imperialist, cold warrior, is increasingly an irrelevance. Why do you still need me? Asks Craig's Bond of Q in Skyfall. This Q can do more damage on his laptop sitting in his pyjamas than Bond can do in a year in the field. Which is a good point. It's kind of, I mean, that was one of the things about Skyfall, is that, when you get the new Q, who's basically like a sort of straight out of university sort of young lad. He wasn't annoying though. I didn't dislike him.
I liked him.
He was alright.
He got that bullshit technology stuff, but he himself was okay.
He was fine. I didn't. He wasn't annoying or anything. But like, I remember that scene in the gallery where Q hands him this little box and he opens it up and it's got a gun and it's got like some little sort of chip thing in it, and Bond's just like, it's not exactly Christmas, is it? And I think that line was kind of indicative of how a lot of people feel about them. Like, it's kind of lost its fun.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, in the books, like, so far there hasn't been an awful lot in the way of gadgets in the books. But the thing is, the books and the movies are different. They just are. And the movies have their own thing about them, and one of them is the gadgets. the gadgets do appear in the books to some extent, but they're not. It's not the same in the same way, you know. So yeah, I can see how some people can look at that and kind of go, this isn't really fun anymore, is it? This is just kind of.
When he destroyed the car, though, like he destroyed his old car.
Yeah, with the Aston Martin.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Though admittedly, his reaction to it going was like the perfect response for it. He was just like, oh fuck yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's just like it's. Oh god, it's just so depressing. You know, where just all the fun stuff is going away. It's all going away. You know. So yeah. Right. Where were we? The cultural studies argument goes that cultural visibility of ethnic minorities creates acceptance and normalises groups who were previously thought of as other. As Britishness should not be a question of skin colour, this should be reflected in the signs and signifiers of British culture. But symbolic representation is no substitute for the fight for or achievement of real equality. Cultural studies thinking simply turns representation into an ersatz, I don't know what that means, into an ersatz politics. It instrumentalises culture and entertainment as tools of the postmodern status quo. And so today, one can call oneself progressive by advocating better representation, while at the same time not fighting for any real change. Well, that's true. Mm-hmm. You know, you're just like, it's like, oh, this character needs to be black, this character needs to be a woman, needs to be gay, it does nothing to help these people. You know, it does nothing to help anyone, and I think there's a lot of people in these demographics that know that as well, and they're just annoyed by it. You know,
it's turning it all into a fucking circus over nothing.
Yeah, I must admit it's hard. Like when you decide you're going to write like a gay character or a trans character, say, it's particularly those two, where you're writing them as gay or trans, but it's hard to make a character. It seems hard for these people in particular to make a character that is trans or gay, but their sole character trait isn't just that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem. It's not that they're gay. It's not that they're trans. It's that's all they are. And that, to me, that again, is kind of like an insult to these people. That it's that they're not individuals. They're all just part of the gay Borg. That's it. What's more, it turns universalism on its head, making diversity in culture an end in itself means fixating on and actively seeking otherness. Instead of abandoning racial thinking, we risk becoming hypersensitive to skin colour. So what of Bond, the sexist, misogynist dinosaur? Rather than changing him, why not make Bond a period piece? Why not put his outmoded essence front and centre and let us enjoy the taboo, the illicit thrill of brutish hypermasculinity? For sure, Idris Elba would be a cool spy, but he would not be James Bond. Now, that last bit actually was quite interesting to me. Fucking AVG. The idea of just making Bond a period piece again.
Sorry, it's just that support or pro-Brexit, pro-liberty. We're not trying to push anything, folks.
Just saying.
We really are. I don't give a fuck.
This channel's not to be talking about that particularly. This is mostly cultural sort of stuff. But I tell you what, I'm just gonna scroll up.
It's right in your face.
Just right there. I mean, that's what Spiked is. So.
Wow.
But so that last bit, talking about making Bond a period piece. Now, would that be a good idea, or would that just be a cop out? Just kind of admitting that we can't think of anything for Bond to do now.
Yawn. Sorry, folks. I don't know. It's weird. I think it'd be interesting to do a period piece, but I don't know how you...
I did actually think before that if I got the chance to write a Bond comic, with the because they've got the Dynamite doing the Bond comics there, that I might like to do a story that's set in Cold War times, sort of 50s or 60s or whatever, and it's Cold War, and doing another sort of classic Fleming era Bond story like that, instead of adding to what Dynamite have got, because let's be honest, the last run that they did with Alice Cott was a fucking hate crime.
It's offensive.
Yeah, it was offensive. Yeah, it was.
Coming from a person who probably is like against like massively offensive things of certain things that he did, he just added to the pile of offensive stuff.
Okay, look, I'm just gonna say it outright. If you're a communist, don't write James Bond. Just don't do it. Especially if you're an overt communist. All right, just don't do it. All right, leave James Bond alone. but yeah,
I'm sure there's some communists out there who would be a decent writer.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I just want to be a writer. I want to write the thing. I'll do the job. Don't you worry, Chief. I'll do it. And then you got Alice Cott. It's like, oh, I hate this pesky writing job. But I can't do anything else because I'm a communist. Ooh. But that's how they talk. That's how they talk. I've talked to plenty of them.
But yeah, so like I don't know whether it would be a cop out or not. Really, like I would see it as kind of a challenge to try and find things for Bond to really do in a Bond film nowadays. It's like I don't know. I to be honest, I don't know how to end this. So.
We've gone on for quite a bit on this one.
Yeah, we've gone on for quite a bit on this one. I think
it's a passionate product. It's a passionate.
Yeah, it's a passionate thing because I do really like James Bond, and I don't like I wouldn't like to see him being used to push an agenda. What I've seen him being used to push an agenda, it's not very good. And whilst I don't think casting Idris Elba as Bond would be an agenda-driven thing itself, I think people would use it to push an agenda, and it would ruin everything. Yeah. I think it would just so yeah, that's what annoys me. Basically, what I want you to do, anyone listening, is go read the novels because they are great.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, they are great novels.
Great. It's something I can't put my finger on how good they are. Just the sense of detail they have.
Yeah, the way that Ian Fleming just is able to put you there. And his experience as well. I mean, there's a lot of ridiculous things in the Bond novels, just like the movies. I mean, in Doctor No, he fights a giant squid with a piece of wire, and Doctor No tries to kill the female protagonist. Was it Honey Rider in Doctor No? I think. Yeah, exactly, Honey Rider. He tries to kill her with a swarm of ravenous crabs. I'm not kidding. That's in the book. But you can also you've got Ian Fleming's experience as a naval intelligence officer and everything. It's basically read the Bond books. Make up your own mind about what you'd think about Idris Elba becoming Bond, and in the meantime, may you ride the night to the morning sun.